So I didn't get any type of literature from him to discuss that with you all, but if I may, I guess return later on, and maybe he will be here. We can bring that back to you. But right now, we just, I guess, asking to see what kind of help we can get, or you all are able to help us.
Okay. Have you attempted to get any private funds, or do you know of any that's been done?
Yes, Brother Brown, they have had, I think, some type of basketball game to raise funds, because when you use the facility at the Utica Middle School, it requires insurance. So they raised enough funds just to have insurance to try to use the gym to try to have the fundraisers or what have you there.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is because we're trying to do the same thing in District 1 and just trying to see how much successes you've had, and it does require a lot of money, and the insurance is something, a particular type of insurance is what you have to have. Mrs. Calhoun?
Have you all considered seeking corporate sponsors? I see a lot of it, most of the Little League teams, sports teams that I've seen have corporate sponsors.
I don't think that he has as of yet, and like I say, we're just not getting started with this, and so I don't think he has. But like I say, I haven't did all my research. He has all that information, so I'm trying to answer the question the best I can.
Generally, the local businesses will also provide financial assistance to Little League teams because of the mere fact that citizens do business with them.
Right.
And you should not have a problem. I don't know if you will, but you should not have a problem with requesting funds from your local businesses.
Okay, let me ask you, on the feeder program, I think they still have it. Can anyone, I guess, kind of tell me what's going on that day? What the kids have in the summer programs where they go eat all summer long, go to the schools. Y'all don't want to talk about on that?
I don't think that comes directly through the board, but I'll defer to Mrs. Woods to see if you know anything about what he's referring to.
On the student program.
I'm familiar with it, but I'm not sure where those funds come from. I know they don't come through the county.
Right.
Okay, and I think he had an issue also, Mr. President, about his communication skills. The officers can't communicate.
Yes, I would just wanted to know from you all, what is the status on the I guess the antenna of the GIF site in Utica. What it is that we're having a problem with radio communication, especially when the wind is the high wind or the weather is bad. And like I said, we're out in the rural area. And it had got so bad at one time that the dispatcher actually had to call us by cell phone to tell us which way, how we're doing, are we 10-4 on the road, we back 10-8 from our traffic stops and all that. So I hear bits and pieces, but I really want an answer today to see where are we with that, because you got to understand that we're in jeopardy if we can't talk on these radios and talk to each other.
Right, so Mr. Lewis can speak to that. We had an emergency item on the agenda about 2 weeks ago, and we know that it is an emergency situation. I think that he is already I know he's working on it. I don't know how far he's gotten at this point, but I'll just go ahead and let him tell you. Mr. Lewis.
As far as the GIF site, the work that is being done out there, we've already submitted an appeal to the company that's going to do the work, and they are in the process of moving equipment on site to do the work. So this week they started Friday on moving equipment on that site. They had to move some heavy equipment out there in order to do the work that's out there. So within the next week or two, that work should be completed as far as the tower itself. But there's some additional work that has to go on as far as realigning the other tower sites. So that could take up to another 30 days or another 45 days. But as far as the emergency part of keeping the tower and the GIF's tower from falling, that work is in progress now.
So the stabilization should be complete within a week?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Stokes, continue.
Yes, we have Millicent. We're up on concerning Silver Springs Road. Come on, Rick. God bless you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Pastor Williams, Spring Hill Christian Center, right in District 5. Midway Road is a well-traveled road. And we have some bad places where there's crossroads. Seven Springs and Orange Road, we have had several bad accidents at those intersections. And we need something to slow the traffic at Seven Springs. And we have had, last year we had about 8 accidents, major accidents, bad accidents, and I was in one of them. We need something to slow the traffic, like they have on Seven Springs, over there on Davis and Spring Ridge Road. They have a three-way stop sign there. We're slowing the traffic down from that direction. We need something there to slow our traffic down. We have several churches on that road. We have subdivisions, and we have a lot of traffic and fast traffic. And we need something to slow the traffic down. We need a stop sign at Seven Springs back, a four-way stop.
Okay, Mr. Fisher, then Ms. Calhoun.
Mr. Lewis, are you aware of this? Mr. Cruz, are you aware of this? That traffic field on mine, so are you aware of this at all?
I've had conversations with Supervisor Smith in the past, and we've looked at that, and we've passed it on to our state aid engineer, and we're reviewing it. But we also have to look at different warrants that the M2U00275.flv will require for the stop signs to be in place. Once we've looked at that, then we can complete our research and find out if it's warranted for a stop sign to be placed.
So this is something that's been in progress.
We have talked about it.
I know that if it's a state aid road, I know that it has different requirements than just the county going out and sticking up a stop sign.
Right, those are called warrants that you have to follow through the M2U00275.
And we've run into that from time to time in other places where I've been involved, where the city or the county thinks, well, it's in the city or the county, we just do what we want to do. And then you come to find out if you've ever spent state or federal, state aid or federal funds, and you have to meet their criteria, which involves traffic counts and everything else. So you are going through that process. And how long do you think it will be before you have an accident?
We'll take a look at it, and we'll get with our state aid engineer and brief the board on our results.
Okay, so you're going through IMS and then they're going to state aid, is that correct?
Right.
Okay, just before we go to Ms. Calhoun, I'd just like to piggyback on what Supervisor Fisher said, that before I became a supervisor, I thought it was something as simple as just telling the engineering department that we needed a stop sign or a red light, until I realized what the process is, and the process could take months, if not years, just to stick a stop sign or a red light at a particular location. I thought it would be something that would be readily, easily done. But with all of the regulations that you have to go through, if we started today and we had almost approval call, what would it take? A month, 2 months?
We'll expedite it and get some response back.
I'm talking about hypothetically, if we were to start today.
And if it's approved?
Yes.
Say about a month and a half.
Okay.
We'll expedite it since we've already started the process.
Okay. Ms. Calhoun?
I was going to defer to Mr. Friedens, and he's already addressed the matter.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Stokes?
Reverend, now you mentioned Midway Road, but we're dealing with what, Seven Springs?
Seven Springs and Orange. Seven Springs, coming down Midway, you can't see. It's a hill and a curve, and about 6 months ago, and the children coming from Hines County Community Center, college there, they just run the stop sign. That's where all accidents are there, and we need something done there. Now, we have several churches on that road, and I have 800 to 900 members coming down that road every Sunday and on Tuesday. We need something done there, and we need to expedite this to have it done, because we're having major accidents on that in that intersection, and we need something done.
So the win-win meant to be the sheriff having a deputy out there until Public Works can do their final
Well, whatever could be done there, because people's lives is dangerous. It's dangerous.
Could you stay and get with Mr. Frieders at this meeting so we can maybe?
I can come. I have another meeting, but I can come back.
Could you leave your number?
I can.
And that way they can call in. Maybe we can get some help from the sheriff also. Because I think you're saying they're running the
yes.
stop signs, not stopping.
Exactly.
You're hoping they can put what out there?
We need to slow the traffic. We need a four-way stop sign. We need to slow the traffic on Midway and Orange Road right there. Midway and Orange and Seven Springs.
What's the speed limit?
It's 50 miles an hour.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, continue, Mr. Stokes.
Mr. President, we had some calls and Mr. Freak was about the low water bridge in Utica. And I know it's out also. What's the status? What are we at with?
That bridge is currently closed. It's been closed since prior to me coming here. At this time, it's rated low, and it needs to be replaced. And we're also obtaining right-of-way for our right-of-way agents. Once that's completed, we can move forward with state aid and looking at replacing the bridge. The plans are completed. IMS has completed the plans. Well, at this time, we're just waiting on right-of-way.
Now, what kind of time frame are we looking at?
Realistically, you can't put a time frame on right-of-way. That's dealing with other people. So once they give us the right-of-way, then we can actually put a time frame on the process of replacing the bridge.
Do we have the money to replace it?
Yes.
So we have the money?
Yes.
So the only thing we're waiting on is the right-of-way?
Well, let me rephrase that. The money is there. The board will have to approve the program forms for the bridge to be replaced.
Okay.
The money is allocated.
Okay. So the main issue now you're saying is
Right-of-way. And that process is moving forward.
all right. Who's our right-of-way agent? Do we have agents?
Well, it's Attorney Charlene Priestov.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, continue, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, item number 8 is a program I talked to our legal person. It's a program that has been utilized in the city of Jackson, where we all know that people might not pay taxes and no one buys the land sale that end up becoming property of the state. The city of Jackson over the years have used a system similar to this, where they get the state to donate the property to the city, and the city at that point could either use a housing authority, whether it's the Habitat for Humanity, whether it's West Jackson CDC, whether it's the Metro Mall, whether it's the Jackson Medical Mall, as an agency to donate this property to. Two things done. You eliminate the blight that's in these innocent neighborhoods, and you create something positive. Well, I want to use my recreation funds. And I talked to Ms. Wooders on item number 8. Well, in front of Linear High School, we have several properties, but 2 belong to the state. And we're trying to get the state to donate those properties to us at the county. Now, we still have other properties we got to get possession of. And we want to tear everything down and create a walking trail, which would be recreational and it would help the ongoing problems and the progress that we have around in the high school. Where Maple Street is located, there's plans for a senior citizen apartments. And now they have a walking trail for the senior citizens. Will be a good 1-2 step.
Okay. Mr. Fisher?
So question on the legalities here. It's a city, within the city limits of Jackson. And listening to what he said, Stowe said, he wants the state to give it to the county, for the county to do the work. Is that, can we do that within the city limits of Jackson? Is there actually some sort of joint agreement with the city of Jackson? I mean, what are the legal procedures here that we have to go through so that we don't jump off into something and have to back up and try another way?
I haven't completed my legal research regarding this matter. However, it is permissible for the county to own land within the city of Jackson limits. So that is permissible. And then second, I do understand the first step is for this board to pass something requesting from the state of Mississippi that the land be provided to the county. And my understanding is that we're requesting, or the board would request that the land be donated from the state of Mississippi at no cost to the county.
Okay, so the land can be donated directly to the county, even though it's in the city limits, and the city has no say as to what goes on there? Because it's county land?
Well, actually, right now it belongs to the state of Mississippi, and if in fact it does transfer ownership to the county, then yes, it would be county land, and the county would be entitled to determine what is done.
I think we already own some existing land in the city of Jackson. Sounds like an excellent project.
Well, this will be a test for all of the town in the city in terms of the working relationship, because we all have blighted properties, so we can probably do something possible. I don't think Ms. Moore might be doing the legal research and working with the state to get us this far.
Okay, Mr. Bishop?
One more point. If we're talking about tearing down houses at the same time, let's make sure that we're really in line with what we need to do. We've had past experiences in Jackson, where things didn't turn out like they should. So we need to really make sure that we're on top of that, and that every step of the way is being monitored. I know that there are ways to do it. I know that we've cleaned up county in the property in the 4th district using all that. We just need to make sure that every step along the way is monitored, because you get in trouble quick, with something like that. So, can recreation funds be used to tear down the houses?
Well, I will need to verify the source of the funds, and if it is, bond funds, as I anticipate, we will ensure that this purpose is actually allowed under those.
I mean, it seems like it would just be preparation of the land. Whether clearing trees or clearing what I assume to be unoccupied blighted houses.
Well, again, we're going to move one step at a time, and the first step would be to acquire the property. Okay. And at the time that it becomes county funds, then we have the option of using inmate labor to do certain things.
Mrs. Calhoun?
I was just going to say that we do have the option of using inmate labor.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes. Will the clerk please read the order?
Resolved to approve an order of the Board of Supervisors of Hinds County, Mississippi to apply to obtain certain properties owned by the state of Mississippi from the state of Mississippi Secretary of State's office for the beautification of areas surrounding Lanier High School.
Continue, please.
Mr. President, item number 9 is a similar item. This is the item where we want to do a community garden to beautify.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes. Will the clerk please read the order?
Resolved to approve an order of the Board of Supervisors of Hinds County to apply to obtain certain properties owned by the state of Mississippi from the state of Mississippi Secretary of State's office for the beautification of Mobile Avenue and Morton Avenue in Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay, Mr. Stokes, continue.
Mr. President, the last item was a resolution. I hope we'll vote on this commemorating the Jackson Advocate. This is going to be the 75th year anniversary, and especially itself to exist in that period of time. And I just put some of the items, and I hope that Ms. Carter, can you get your office to read the and what we're doing with this resolution is thanking Jackson for 75 years of going strong and trying to do the right thing in the community. I know the city will do something on tomorrow, but it's always a hard struggle, and it's positive. Keep going and moving forward. Thank you.
Mr. President, Board of the Board, excuse me, my sinus was drinking this morning as well. Board of the Board of Supervisors of Hinds County, Mississippi, recognizing the Jackson Advocate for 75 years of service to Jackson, Mississippi, and nationwide. Whereas Jackson Advocate first issue appeared on Thursday, October 20, 1938. Whereas the Jackson Advocate's roots back to 1927, when founding publisher Percy established the Colored Veterans of Mississippi's first champion for the rights of black soldiers returning from World War I. Whereas the Jackson Advocate dedicates much of its space to highlighting the good deed and accomplishments of African Americans, shying away from publishing stories involving black on black crime, unless there is a need to clarify misinformation. Whereas the Jackson Advocate also dictates that time and funds to worthy community causes, including its reading program and the Neighbors program, established in September 2005 to provide assistance to hurricane victims. Whereas in the early 1990s, Associate Publisher Alex Tisdale initiated the highly praised Project Reentry, a program that provides job training and locates living wages jobs for women returning from prison populations. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Hinds County Board of Supervisors hereby grant authorization to request that certain properties owned by this has
She wrote the wrong part in it.
Anyway, sorry on this day, second day of April 2012.
Thank you. Get that.
Thank you very much. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of? Excuse me.
You have the bottom part to read?
Ms. Carr.
Yes, sir.
He said the bottom part we're going to read, they are not therefore be in order. How would that read? Do you have it?
The Hinds County Board of Supervisors, so resolved.
It's just that last paragraph.
That's all.
Okay.
And then a list of members.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the one that Ms. Mangum gave me had an overrun of the other order in. Now, therefore, we require
Yes, the basic.
the basic, yes, sir.
Okay.
On this day of the
Thank
Hinds County.
So this is the second day of April 2012, and it will be an order recognizing the board recognizing the Jackson Advocate for 75 years of service to the city of Jackson.
Okay. It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes. Will the clerk please read the order?
Resolved to approve a resolution honoring and commending the Jackson Advocate newspaper on their upcoming 75th anniversary.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will accept all Mr. Stokes.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, we will continue with our printed agenda. We'll now go to our county administrator, Mrs. Carmen Davis. Mrs. Davis.
Good morning, Mr. President, board members. The first item on the agenda, A, with the unclaimed bodies. However, there are none for your consideration today. Second, we have Mr. Timothy Stallworth from the Henley Young Juvenile Justice Center with one issue to bring to your attention, an update of the upgraded police court.
Okay.
Mr. President and board members.
Good morning.
Let me thank you for the opportunity to come and to share the update of what we're doing at Henley Young Youth Court on behalf of Judge Skinner. We're trying to do everything we can to help with the children there. Judge Skinner's motto is that it relate to and constantly emphasize to us that the youth court is about rehabilitation more than it is about punishment. And I've provided you with a list of services that the youth court offers to all the persons that are coming through our doors. We have no way of knowing who we're going to receive. We receive whoever law enforcement brings to us. We don't keep all the children that come in. We have a risk assessment too that we do use if the child is arrested and brought in and they score a certain level of points. And if they score enough points, they're released by intake department. If not, they're held in the juvenile facility. They must appear before the judge. Our customary practice is that if law enforcement bring them in, they are the ones that make the arrest. We receive them. we bring them in, and then we have them here before the judge, who is appointed by the senior county judge. It's Judge Pat who appoints Judge Skinner to preside. He's the youth court judge for us here at Hinds County. And what we try to do is that if they come in the first time and go before the judge, we go through the process because we need to give them some instructions, paperwork. We assign them to a counsel to work with these individuals. And once they are assigned, they're released on in-home detention with some rules and some curfews and some other things. If they come back to the court, then we hold them. We can hold them for 21 days. We also provide treatment while we hold them. Every child there goes to school. We have school there in the facility. We invite you all to come down and tour our facility. We're making great strides and great changes. Today we have with us Mr. Ray Sims, who has been one of the outstanding above and beyond supporters from the Department of Public Safety, who helps us with our grants, funding, and has been funding many projects. We have a state-of-the-art courtroom because of his office. We installed two 52-inch flat screen monitors there. We have a new digital recording system in place. We have a tracking system in place for the juveniles when they come in, where we can track their every movement throughout the facility while they're there, where we can record whether or not they are receiving services, who they saw, who talked to them, how long they talked to them, etc. And by tracking and scanning their movement. Each child wears a little bracelet, armband bracelet, and they're scanned from one department to the next. So when people say that they're not in school, we're able to say that they are in school. When they say that they are not doing something, we're able to say that they are. So we're trying to do everything that we can to come into compliance. And by the help of Mr. Sims, the state has been out of compliance for 10 years and lost $10 million. But we're in compliance. Mr. Sims came to us a while back and said if he could take Henley Young out of the equation, the state would stay in compliance. But we have the largest population. So he's worked with us with funding to help us, and he's also working with us to give us some additional funds that we're trying to do now. We have the list of services. Every child takes a basics exam. Hinds Behavior Health is on staff with us there every day. We STD test every child that come in, and the alarming rates on the STD is extremely high. For our juveniles, about 50% of the persons that are coming in have some form of STD, and they receive treatment through Crossroad. This is an agreement that we have with the State Health Department, and we're awaiting a contract with the Health Department to start doing HIV testing, where they will help us in doing that, and they will provide the treatment as well, so it doesn't cost us anything. On the HIV testing, it will help us to secure the funding through the State Health Department. Every child is evaluated with the nurse there, and medication is dispensed. We have education assessment on every child that comes through the door that sees the judge. Each child is receiving a master level counselor. We have a full-time school there. We have drug court, which has about 40 participants. We have full-time drug staff, drug court counselor and staff and probation officer. We have drug and alcohol counselors, parenting class for our children and for the parents. We have a young girl self-esteem class that is taught by our counselors. We have a young mother's parenting class, and we're also partnering with Dreams on a teenage pregnancy prevention program with Absence Plus that they're applying for. We feel we're going to receive that grant pretty soon. They receive individual and group counseling, dropout prevention officer. We have them there on staff with us from Jackson Public School. We have mentoring and training referrals. We have a big problem with gangs. We have a big problem with gangs, so we are trying to start a gang court. We're seeking funding for that. At present, I believe we have about 240 young persons who have admitted that they're in some type of a gang. And this intelligence was gathered from the FBI, from a meeting that's still back in December at their headquarters, who came down, interviewed our kids. Our kids connected dots for them to help solve some other cases. The gang intelligence was more than what they could believe. They said that it was more organized than they've seen in other places, so they flew in some persons to also look at the gang problem that we have with juveniles in Hinds County. We have a big problem with that. We're trying to get some help with that. It is a big problem that's facing. We have the GPS tracking system where we track individuals that court released early. Now, these persons may not have been adjudicated yet, but we want to monitor their traffic if they're sex offenders or alleged sex offenders, or if they are constantly breaking into houses or what have you. We have a detainee tracking program that I spoke about earlier from the ID group. We have a runaway shelter for girls. We're trying to get one for boys. We have one for girls that we got a grant from Mr. Sims' office so that we can be in compliance that we don't hold status offenders there at the juvenile facility. We also are trying to start a dog therapy program to deal with anger management for some of the kids that are there. And we're hoping that if permissible, and we're meeting with the administration of the county,